Hey, what's going on? Twitch is here. Hope y'all can hear me. Misty's here.
Hi.
All right, cool. Yes, we definitely got sound. I had to make sure. Hey, but yeah, Mysterious is here. She's out of Warwickshire, UK, kicking it. We're talking music, talking rap, talking life today. So I'm excited to have
Yes.
her here. You want to introduce a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name is Misty. My stage name is Mysterious. I've been a rapper for about 3 years now. And I make alternative rap music. Yeah.
The flyest and fireest. Yo, what's up, Thick Arrow? Welcome in. Glad you could be here, dude. This is a special one because this is the first remote one I've done. You're making history today, Misty.
Oh, awesome.
It's exciting. Yeah. So I guess to get into it, I remember when I first met you. I was going to talk about that. Is I was scrolling through
Mm.
Instagram, and like I found one of your posts, and I was like, I like your mask, and I think you said I like your beanie, and I was wearing like a Kingdom Hearts beanie, and then we kind of talked from there, and I was like, okay, she deserves a follow, so I followed her. And sometimes little sparks don't go into anything, you know what I mean? But like
Mm.
sometimes you're like, okay, this person's got a dope vibe. Then I realized that we were both following Damien Keys and we are both following Adam
Uh-huh.
Ivy, I think. And so I don't think it's
Yeah.
any secret that we both um, like looked into the marketing aspect of putting our rap out there and posting on Instagram and stuff. And
Mm.
from the looks of it, from when you started posting music and putting out music, it was around 2020, which is around the same time I kind of
Mm.
started putting out music. So
Mm.
I feel like there was like a little bit of parallel. We were kind of doing the same thing, building up this thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to start a little bit before that. When did you first decide you wanted to rap?
It was like I think it was either 2018 or 2019. Like I was in my bedroom. I'd moved away from home for a bit to study at university, and then I ended up coming back and changing uni. But while I was at that university away from home, I was like in my bedroom and I was like going through some relationship problems with my partner at the time. And like to cope with that, I was just like writing just loads of like poetry and stuff like that. And then like I was at the point in my life where I was like listening to more lyrical rap and stuff. And then I was like just randomly in my bedroom, like I was like, I'm gonna try doing this rapping. And then like it just instantly was like, oh my God, like this is so much fun. And it just kind of grew from there. And then I didn't release my first music until 2020 because like I was an absolute perfectionist when I started making music, and I was like, it's not ready, it's not ready, and it took like ages to just release it. But yeah, I guess 2019, I think.
Yeah. So like, has rap always been a part of your life? Like, have you always been like into rap? Like, as far as like your favorite genre, or
No, so I kind of like in terms of the genres, I kind of gone all over the place. Like I grew up with the 80s because my dad was really into the 80s, and like that's how I bonded with my dad, was like listening to 80s music in the car.
awesome. I
And
can
then
kind of hear that in songs like Jealous, because like whenever I started listening to that
uh-huh.
today, like that first whole synth line, I was like, this is like so
Yeah.
80s. I love the tone of
Yeah.
it, the texture, like it's a
Uh-huh.
great, yeah. So I can see how
Yeah,
that happened.
exactly. Yeah. So a lot of 80s like has kind of been my upbringing, and then when I was like 15, 16, I went into that whole like hard rock emo phase.
Okay.
As many people do.
Yeah.
Um yeah. And I was really into like the theatrical kind of looks, like I guess like Black Veil Brides or Slipknot, like very
Oh,
similar
okay.
to like what I'm doing now, yeah. And then after that, like I guess I kind of went more into the rap, and then now I've kind of gone back more into like 80s stuff and like reliving that the past few years. So it's kind of been a bit all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see like you really like different textures. You're not like it
Mm,
has to sound like this. Like you're all over the place.
mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I
what's
would
your
agree with that.
earliest like getting into music? Whenever you're like die hard into music?
I would definitely say like yeah, I was 15, 16. That was when I was like music was my life then. That was when like CDs, and I don't know if you guys have HMV in the States.
HMV. I'm not sure.
Okay, so there's like a big CD store, and like at the weekends, because I used to go to boarding school, so at the weekends, like when we were allowed out, I would go to HMV in town and I would like buy a CD every single week.
Oh,
and I'd
okay.
come back and I would put it in my CD player, and I would like you should just like learn the lyrics to the songs like that week, and that would be like my album of the week.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we had
yeah, so
FYE, so I guess
okay.
for your entertainment is what it was like stood for.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they
yeah,
had like
yeah.
everything, like DVDs and stuff too.
Hmm. Yeah, it's like it was kind of going under during COVID, and then they've kind of
Uh,
brought it back. So it's nice to see it still going on.
Devastating. This always sucks
Hmm.
when you see like good music stores go. But like, so you'd grab a CD and then you go home and listen to it. Did you like pull out the booklet and like read the lyrics along with it and stuff?
Yeah, like it's really cool when they have that because some of them don't, and then some of them have got like a commentary on the album as well. It's really
Mm-hmm.
cool, like photos that you can't see online. Like, because back in that day, like you couldn't, I guess, look it up as much as you can now. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
all, I don't know, there was a lot more. I guess I don't know, it felt a bit more real back then. Like you could
Yeah.
connect more with the artists through CDs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like that too, because like they could only put a certain amount of information without making a whole novel come with the CD.
Hmm.
So they had
Yeah.
to really like fine tune what pictures and what what
Hmm.
artwork and what lyrics and what extra words they said in there. A lot of
Hmm.
these up here, a couple of them. I got Foo Fighters, Sarah Jaffe, Lucas Nelson, Modest Mouse. All those are from actual CD like booklets that are just giant prints or something like that. And I was like, I always like stuff
Hmm.
like that too because I could put on my wall.
Hmm. Yeah. Actually, like Rooftops by the Foo Fighters, like that was one of the earlier songs that I was listening to around that time was
Oh yeah.
because it was really big on the radio back then. And that was like my first song I heard by the Foo Fighters was it is called Rooftops, is that right?
What song? I'm not sure.
Maybe I'm going insane.
R-
Rooftops.
Rooftops is. I know there's a song by Rise
No,
Against.
that's I'm going no, I'm talking bullshit.
Okay, I was like, I'm really
I
thinking through
don't
the
know what I'm talking
discography.
about.
That's all good. Is okay. So I
I
know
think
like. Oh, I was gonna say
okay.
I know like I have like
Mm.
favorite like booklets that I've especially from that era when I was 14, 15. Like, is there any like that stand out?
In terms of the CDs.
Yeah, like your CDs, like your favorite booklet,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
artwork.
My first ever one I bought was called We Stitched These Wounds, and that was like I think it was the second album by Black Veil Brides.
Mm-hmm.
And the front cover is literally like it's like a painted picture of the main singer Andy Bissack with like angel wings, and he's like stitching his mouth. I can't really
That's
remember it, but like
cool.
yeah, it was really really beautiful. It was like a Renaissance picture, and I was like I just fell in
Hmm.
love with that imagery. And I just loved that album, and that's how I learned all the lyrics because they had all the lyrics in the songs and everything. And like,
Yeah. I love that. Like I was always really disappointed when I open up a CD and go through the booklet and there's no lyrics in there. I
uh-huh, yeah,
was like, I
yeah,
need them.
uh-huh, yeah. I think like there was one I didn't really know what Bullet for My Valentine was back then, and I like bought a Bullet for My Valentine CD and I came back and it was like completely screamo. I had no idea what they were saying. I ended up taking
Yeah.
it back because I was like, I can't listen to this.
Yeah, I never got into that heavy of music. Well, I don't even know if that's really technically heavy. It's weird to define rock now.
Yeah, there's so many genres of rock, like
Hmm.
subgenres. It's like rap, but rap has really expanded over the last
Yeah,
few years.
that's what I was talking about with Spencer too. Like how, rap is one of the youngest genres. It came out in the late '70s, and now recently there's like all types of rap, like emo rap and screamo rap and punk rap
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
alternative and the stuff that you do. Like it's incredible, like to see how people take so many different genres and are still adapting and creating this whole new thing within this genre. It's incredible.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Um, yeah, so like one I remember one album booklet I really liked was Minutes to Midnight by Linkin Park because there was like some paintings in
Okay.
there that like Mike Shinoda did and I was really inspired by.
Hmm.
Yeah, that one's really cool. But sometimes I'll just get lost looking at those pictures or try to redraw pictures. I remember Good Charlotte had
Yeah.
cool stuff too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I guess with the Linkin Park stuff, like it's even more special now because of what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know, it's like things like that. You're kind of capturing moments in time that like back then you would never know what would have happened. So like things like that are extra special, I think.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're also a singer, so like how early were you singing? Is that something you did your whole life?
Yeah. So singing I've been doing my whole life. Like my aunt was into musical theater. Like, I don't know what you guys called the West End in America. It's like the New York kind of with all the theater productions. So it's
Okay, yeah.
the London version of that. So she was in the West End, and so like she kind of was my first teacher for singing. And then when I went to boarding school, I was in the choir.
Okay.
And I always got the solo parts for the choir. So actually, like my background was more classical in terms of my singing. Um, and then when I started making music, like it really, I had to change my style because I had to retrain my voice to not be like operatic all the time,
Oh yeah.
which has been, it's been hard. Like you can hear my classical voice a lot in my music. So I try to work with it rather than against it. But when I do, for example, gigs where they want like covers and stuff, I've had to completely change my sound, which has been really difficult.
Yeah, yeah. I noticed that your sound is really operatic, especially in the what's it called? Left on Red by with Taffy T.
Oh yeah.
It's just like straight operatic like
hmm
riffs going on in the background. It sounds amazing. Is that something you want to get away from because it's just something you did too much, or
No, I actually want to develop it more because
okay,
I think it's, yeah, like I would rather develop it more. Like for
okay,
me, it's frustrating having to try and change because it's just easier. I'm very much a person of the path of least resistance.
yeah,
So for me, I'm just like, well, why not blend it in with the rap somehow?
yeah. It's
It's
something you
different.
could definitely develop. Like you saw what Freddie Mercury did with rock music. With when he got inspired by opera and stuff. I could definitely see you
Exactly.
like developing something like that.
Well, like Bohemian Rhapsody is like an example of that completely. Like it's just so different.
Hmm.
Like I don't think anyone would ever expect that to be rock, and it's like it's
Right.
kind of
When I first heard that song, I was like, "Wait, this is a rock band?" Like I didn't know who
yeah.
Queen was. Like, it was crazy. So
hmm
and of course it was Wayne's World. So
mm
so that's part of culture here. We have two West Ends. L.A. is Hollywood, more movies and stuff. New York is more musicals and stage performance. So I'm guessing that's like
Okay.
Broadway. That'd be like
Yes,
Broadway.
that's it. That's it. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Broadway.
Yeah, like Tony's and yeah, musicals and stuff like that. It's
hmm
pretty cool.
hmm
Um,
mm
and then I noticed like New York has a lot more like TV, whereas Hollywood has a lot more like movies and stuff. So I don't really know the
mm
difference between all that, but definitely never been to either place. I've never been to LA or New York City, which is weird.
mm
I've been all the way around the Midwest and a little bit of the East. But anyways, yeah, states is huge. Just Texas
mm
is huge. Um, yeah. What about the environment? Where did you originally grow up? Where were you born and how did you move like around so much?
I've moved around like a lot, a lot, a lot. So I was born in Southampton, which is right down at the bottom.
Mhm.
And it's famous because that's where the Titanic left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then when I was two, so I don't remember living there, but when I was two, I moved to Warwick, around Warwickshire, which is a town within Warwickshire. And then my parents moved to Kenilworth, which is where I'm mainly based now. And then I lived in Birmingham, which is like the second biggest city in the UK for
Mhm.
about 7 years. That's when I was at boarding school. And then I went to Nottingham for a year, and then the States for a year, or the other way around. I went to the States and then I went to Nottingham. And then I came back and I am now still in Kenilworth. So yeah, I've moved around a heck of a lot, I think.
Yeah. So you were super young while you were in the States. Like, do you remember it?
I was 19, so I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, so I wasn't that young at all. Like I went by myself and it was like I was only there for about a year. I
Hmm.
wasn't there for long, but it had a massive impact on me as a person completely. It's a complete culture shock for
Yeah.
sure.
That's interesting.
Complete
Where did you
culture shock.
go?
Orlando, Florida.
Oh, okay. That's also never
hmm
another place I've never been to. Never been to
Oh,
Florida.
really?
Yeah, but that's where Thick Arrow is just here. He said he's lurking while he's at work, but currently resides in Florida, and I went to high school with him, so he eventually moved there. I just know it's
Okay.
very humid and hot.
Yes. Yeah. Very, very hot.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
The
fuck with that.
rainstorms. hmm
Yeah, I can imagine like off the coast. Yeah.
Yeah, and they have like hurricanes and stuff, and
Hmm.
yeah.
So what made you leave?
A couple of reasons. So like my visa ran out. So I
Mm.
was like working for a ballet company there. My visa, they didn't extend it because I had an injury, and that was, fair enough. Like it wasn't, my injury has never got better, so like they made the right
Oh
decision.
no, what
Yeah.
happened?
I had this like something wrong with my hips. Like it's just, then the doctors for years they still don't know what's wrong. Like I've had scans and they still don't know. They think it's something to do with my nervous system, but it just wasn't getting better. And
Ah,
like yeah, so they made the decision. They said like we can't extend your visa, so you're gonna have to leave. But like I was kind of done with it because I wasn't really happy there. Like I was struggling with like an eating disorder, and I was like the friends I had, like I was in a really I wouldn't say dangerous situation, but like the friends I had at the
toxic.
time were not, yeah, toxic completely, and like kind of brainwashing me a little bit. And I was
Mm.
like, this is the time to leave, and it was the right time for me to go. So that's why I left.
Oh, that was good. You were self-aware enough to get out of there while you could. You know, like to
Yeah,
see it.
it was hard, but like because I felt like it was like I'd escaped my life in England, but it wasn't until I left England that I actually realized like I really want to live in England, essentially.
Okay,
Yeah.
I see that. Was it like a little bit of homesickness, or you just like,
Yeah, it was like you really don't really realize how much you appreciate England until you leave it, and like how different the culture is. Like I know there's like a lot of people say, "Oh, England doesn't really have culture," but actually, like English people say that. But actually,
ah,
when you leave and you go to the States, you realize, oh my God, like we have a massive culture, and I missed that. I felt a lot like out of place a lot in the States. So yeah, I missed being at home.
yeah. I think it's really easy to get conditioned to where you live because, like, hold on, I don't know. Interesting. I don't know what that means. I don't know how Zoom works, so hopefully it says something about running out of time. Um,
Oh.
oh, I guess I got a meeting time, so what, upgrade to Pro. Okay, so we got 10 minutes, and then we'll figure out something else. So let me
Okay.
not
I
derail
think
this
it's
too.
like maybe it gives you an hour and then you have to start another meeting
I
again.
guess interesting. Well, yeah, we'll figure that out once that ends. We'll take a break.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
really easy to get conditioned to where you live because like I'm from Texas and like here we're always like it's nothing just flat land and there's nothing to see. But
Mm.
you know like when we leave we travel a lot and stuff. I'm like well we still haven't been to Big Bend. There's like San Antonio that I haven't been to since I was a kid and Galveston and all these places. So it's like well even
Mm.
just like the places near you, there's still some really cool stuff that is easy to
Mm.
miss if you're conditioned like you're just there all the time
Yeah.
if it's so close. Are the different parts of England as different as the states like east west north south like
Um, yes and no. I would say, yeah, I would say like culturally, yeah. I feel like there's because I lived in the East for a year when I lived in Nottingham, and I'm primarily from the West, and there is a definite cultural difference.
mm-hmm.
I think people treat you very differently in the East. I think people are than the West, and I think in the North it's the same in the South. There's a definitely a North and South divide in England. Like the North don't like the South.
Oh
There's not
interesting.
the East and the West, in my opinion, seem to get on the best.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
interesting because we have like the whole cliche southern hospitality and if we go north like people are generally like not as like polite or whatever
Mm.
so um
It's the opposite way around in England. So like people up in the north are a lot nicer than down in the south.
oh interesting. Is that
Yeah,
because
uh-huh.
London is in the north? Is it on the north side of England? I can't remember.
London's more south, so
Oh,
London's
okay.
more south. So yeah, like it's like the north is like you can go into Scotland and stuff like that, and like
Okay.
Yorkshire, and like people in Yorkshire tend to be more like family orientated. Like in the north, it's more family orientated, and like I don't know, like my mind's
Okay.
thinking of like Carolina or something in the States, like
Yeah, I see what you mean.
yeah,
I was
like
always
that.
interested because like I see as like London as like this proper like just my American perception just sees like London as like your proper people like butlers. You know what I
No,
mean?
definitely not. It definitely in some parts, yeah, for sure, but like it's not like the pictures and
Okay.
the films at all. No.
Yeah, I was intrigued. I always wanted to go. Painted said Misty has to come to Texas so she can see the zoo.
Yes, I want to.
Yeah, our Fort Worth Zoo is like one of the top 10 zoos in the country, and
Awesome.
they just like did a huge renovation on it, and like some lions and tigers are gone for a while. Now they're coming back, so we're pretty excited to go. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, let's get back to it. Um, so I guess we'll get back into. Let's see. When you started, did you start performing or start recording first?
Recording before I was performing as Mysterious, yeah.
Okay, so like, on your first
So I
cover,
just
on your first cover, you had like something tied around your head, not like actual proper
yeah,
mask. How soon did like
yeah.
the mysterious like persona come?
That was basically Damien Keys basically was the guy that decided on this because he was like looking through my stuff and he was like, "You're wearing a blindfold here, you're wearing a mask here, you're wearing a bandana here. Like you need to decide on one thing because it's confusing." And he
Ah.
he was like, so I was like, well, I really like wearing a blindfold, but like he said to me, he kind of was like, blindfold's a little bit too dark. It looks a bit too dark and some people. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna put a mask with the blindfold because no, I've not seen this before really with the
Mm-hmm.
eyes gone. And that's how that kind of develops. That was I think my second single. I had got this sorted out by then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So where did the idea for the blindfold come into play?
I just love blindfolds. I don't know why. I think there's something, I don't know. It's just for me, it's like it's just very beautiful to look at. Like, um, I don't know. I've always kind of been interested in that. Even when I was a dancer, like I did a piece where I was wearing a blindfold, and like so I've always kind of been drawn to them. I'm not sure why, and yeah, I just didn't really. I wanted to do something different, and I originally tried covering my mouth my with a mask, and that just didn't work because of the wrapping. It sounds very
Mm-hmm.
muffled, so I was like, well, I can't do that, so it's got to be up here.
And then
So
COVID hit,
yeah,
and you had to wear both.
exactly.
Did you play
Yeah.
shows like that, like mask and mask?
No, I didn't because I didn't actually do my first. Well, I did like a couple of open mics and stuff before COVID, and then like I didn't actually perform my first proper show till like God 2022 or something like that.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
so,
okay,
yeah, near the end
interesting.
of COVID. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, like Monica said it asked if it was inspired by Sia at all or Lucha Libre. He was like serious.
I guess in a way, like I take a lot of inspiration from artists that like do something like that. Like I guess like I said before, like Slipknot, like David Bowie in general, his look is very theatrical. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a bit of inspiration there, I guess.
Yeah, dude, I always loved David Bowie like as a performer. I don't like listen to his music as much as I want
Mm,
to. I've listened to a good
mm,
bit, but I've not really
mm-hmm,
listened to like full albums like back to back to back and all that. But as far as like the Ziggy
mm-hmm.
Stardust and like his performance on SNL, like his whole presence and demeanor, like the way he wears makeup and stuff, that was always really inspiring to me. I'm just always so damn lazy, so so like I started wearing eyeliner like last year, and then I was
Mm-hmm.
like I forgot to put it on in some pictures, and then I'm like I'm just I'm just like such a casual thing, and that's what always kind of connected me with like people like Kurt Cobain is like
hmm
he just wore whatever hand me downs he had in his closet, and that was
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? So I was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
less effort. I like that.
yeah.
More punk rock
Yeah,
kind of shit. Your masks, like, do you make them yourself?
I do. So I buy just the white ones. It doesn't have anything in the eyes, so I have to glue and paint and every mask is different and I try to make some tell a different story or whatever. Like, yeah.
That's cool. I noticed like some go with some outfits that you've made. Like, have you ever like gotten like
Yeah,
a dress or something and been like, I need to make a mask
yeah,
for this?
yeah. Sometimes that is the look because the dress just doesn't go with one of the ones I've made, so I have to make a special one. Like this one was made specifically for a dress that looks like theirs. Because it was like all these different colors, and I was like, well, I can't wear just one with a color, so yeah, that's annoying sometimes, but it works out looking really cool in the end.
Yeah, it does. Painted's asked if you had a favorite that you've made.
And my favorite, yeah, the pink one. I wear the pink one a lot. It's like a light pink. Um, it's I wear it with the angel wings a lot of the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Did you
I
make
like
those
that
too?
one. I did not. I
Hmm.
did not. I wish I could. Like I've looked into making fairy wings and I want to try it because they look really nice, but just haven't got around to it. So
Hmm.
I bought the angel wings.
Hell yeah. Yeah, those are really dope. Um, yeah. So your first release was what? Bleeding Green, right? And that was
Yeah,
five songs.
that was my first EP. Yeah.
Came out on August 31st. So like how long were they recorded before that?
It took about a year. Like it was like I was yeah, it took a year like for a long part of them like they were the first song Bleeding Green like had about five different because I just was not happy with it. And I
Mm.
actually ended up going back and actually reconstructing the whole thing at one point. So
Wow.
there's another version of it. I've got the other version. It's completely different. Because I just wasn't happy with it, and so it took so long, and I had to really learn how to not do that anymore because I was like, I cannot be spending a year on songs anymore. But
Mm.
yeah, it took a year.
Dude, I feel that. Like, I was spending years on songs until I
Mm.
was like, you know what? I need to just like, put them out. All right, we got like less than
Yeah.
1 minute, so let me go ahead and take the first break, and then we'll figure out this whole Zoom
Okay.
thing. All right, thanks
Cool.
for joining me. We'll be right back, guys. Okay, we're situated. Welcome back, guys. Luckily, that didn't take too long.
I don't think it did.
Yeah. I was like, now I know for the next couple. I'm gonna do one with a friend in Connecticut later, like next month or something like that. So now I know what to look for. Like, wait for that notification. Yeah. Okay. So you released five songs, and then I think the next one you released after that was November 6th. It was a single. So
Yeah.
like, why did you release it so soon, or were you just trying to like stack up songs, or?
Um, that again was like Damien Keys. Like Damien Keys had a lot. I will be really honest with you. He had a lot of influence on the first few singles, and he was like, for starters, he was like, you shouldn't have done an EP. Like you should have just released them as singles because to start off with an EP was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Looking back, like I agree with him because I couldn't focus on like releasing one at a time and focusing on, and I should have done that. And so like I was like, okay, I didn't do any advertising on my EP. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on a new single and I'm gonna try this again. And I like released Something in My Heart, which was the one that came out in the November. And like I went full from with advertising and I learned how to advertise and like market and it did so well. And that was kind of the start. And that's when I started kind of getting traction and getting fans. Fans. I don't
Yeah.
really like calling them fans. I prefer to call
Yeah.
them supporters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
I feel that.
yeah.
So like, yeah, that's pretty much how I found you. Was like when I found Daniel Keys, or Adam might be one of them. Like it was one of them said something about 12 by 12s or 10 by 10s or 5 by 5s, where you go find five hashtags and comment on like
Yeah.
five of them and leave a like and say something you like, but you actually
Mm-hmm.
watch the video and like don't just copy paste, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I discovered you, and then it just like kept going, and then yeah, eventually I was like, okay, this chick's actually doing something like really cool and innovative. So I was like, this is really cool. You know, it's really cool to have seen you grown, because I think that was, I feel like 2021, or it feels like, I don't even
Um,
know how long it feels like it was.
it was so long ago, I
It
swear.
was, I think
Like,
it was right when
yeah.
Fields came out,
Yeah, probably, yeah.
like, which I did not look at the date for that one. Let me look. I
That
can
was
look.
June 25th,
Oh,
I
okay,
believe.
like you already know.
I only know because the anniversary is coming up for that song, but
Oh, nice. There you go.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't have you ever like sent you some shit about Blueprint or Super Duty Tough Work?
No, you've
Um,
not sent me anything.
it's like this dude. He wrote this book, which I totally recommend. Just happen to have
Mm.
that here, but yeah, it's like stuff like that. Same things I've heard Danny McKee's talk about, and and about like how to get ideas for content and stuff like that. And one of them
Mm.
was like basically knowing the dates your albums came out and your singles came out. That way you can be like, today's the anniversary. Go listen, you know. So I'll
Yeah,
definitely
I
like link
think
you to them.
Yeah, please do.
Mm.
Yeah, I think like I think as artists we're scared to like keep promoting the same thing, but actually like that's what works. Like you have
Yeah.
to stay relevant in people's minds. Like I've been promoting my like haunted house for like a year now. So
Yeah.
I'm sure people like you think in your head people are tired of it. No one cares. Like no one cares if they see content again about it, honestly. If it's a good song, it's fine.
Exactly. And Haunted House is a good song. Totally recommend go and listen to that if you haven't. Yeah. Oh, he has to, like I don't know why I've never asked you this, but are you a fan of the Streets?
The streets?
The Streets. It's a group. They're Garage House UK group. They're incredible. Like they've been around since what 2004 I think was their first record. Mike Skinner. They like headlined. What's that one? Bonnaroo. What's the one in Europe? The big ass festival. Glastonbury.
Glastonbury.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, they've headlined that I think recently, but they
Oh
broke
my
up in
God,
like
okay.
2011, and then basically resurged in 2020. Dropped an album on my birthday, which I was like, "Thank you, happy birthday to me, Streets." Um, but yeah, did a mixtape. But yeah, dude, they're incredible. Like Mike Skinner is just one of those dudes. He's a fucking genius. They're all over my hip hop playlist, which I think you're on my hip hop playlist too. So
Oh, thanks. That's
everybody,
awesome.
go check out my hip hop playlist. I consider them hip hop, but like if you like look up the definition, it says like UK garage. They follow along more, I
Okay.
guess, the lines of like techno or EDM. But
Oh,
I've
yeah.
always like heard
Okay.
them as like hip hop. But he just has a
Okay.
weird flow. Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, he had to know. I had to know then too. um, yeah, yeah. So going back, let's see. Your first record, like, what was the inspiration on actually going to record, like when you gathered the music and everything?
For the first EP
Yeah.
or yeah, okay. So like in terms of like I knew the direction I wanted to go with it. Like I wanted to tell the story of kind of my teenage years. Like that whole EP is about my teenagers pretty much
Mm-hmm.
up until I was about 21. So it's kind of telling a story from when I was like 16 to 21.
Is it like
And
chronological?
is it chronological? So it starts with 2013, so that's when I was 16, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm trying to remember the order of it. I guess in a way a little bit, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Don't quote me on
Yeah,
that.
because I remember
Not
listening in
looking at all the time.
2013, and I was like, did this song come out in 2013? I'm like, no, this is. And then I started like listening to it. I'm like, okay, this is really really cool. So you're just
Mm.
like these were combinations of your poetry that you'd already been writing.
Yeah, so the first one I ever wrote was 2013. That started out as a poem, and like that was the first kind of proper rap song I ever wrote, and then I just kind of developed it from there, and then I was like Bleeding Green, which is the second track on the EP, I believe. It was a lot more experimental, but like yeah, just that whole album EP, sorry. It was way very different. All the songs are different, but they kind of have the same kind of dark feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I was really experimenting and trying to find what I wanted, and I think I kind of got there eventually.
Oh yeah. Where did you work with the? Who did you work with the music?
I did most of that myself. Like
Holy shit.
yeah, yeah. For my first EP, I was like, okay, so four of those tracks, the everything is done by me. Like the production, the composition, the everything. And then there was just the one Golden Liquid that was like someone else produced the track for that. But the majority of that EP I'd done everything
Wow, that's incredible.
completely.
I was looking so hard for like any type of like like produced by or anything like that. I was like, nah, like I
Oh,
was thinking to
yeah,
that, but I wasn't gonna assume. Yeah, because it's crazy. It's a hard
yeah.
task, especially because okay, you were a professional dancer for a long time, right?
Yes, I was, yeah. Yeah, until I was 22, pretty much, yeah.
So I guess I was gonna ask you about that first. Like, did you always want to be a dancer, or was it just something that you were put into?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like my mom wanted me to be a ballet dancer. Like my mom really put me into it. So I started when I was 2, and it was just all I knew for like my entire life. That I cannot remember not doing it growing
Okay.
up. So like every single day after school I was doing ballet. And then I got into this elite school when I was 11, which was the boarding school I went to. And then I was doing ballet all day, every day, and a bit of school in the middle. Um, so I kind of was put into it, and I did love it. I loved some parts of it, but I hated other parts of it. And then by the end of it, I really had fallen out of love with the industry of ballet. Not ballet itself, but the industry. And I still have a very complicated relationship with the industry. Kind of broke my heart a bit. So yeah, I did enjoy it, and then I didn't, basically.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. So you eventually you got to the elite school where they were like
Mm.
you getting paid for performances and going to school?
No, so when you go to the school, like they train you to become like professional at the end. So like by the seventh or eighth year, you're auditioning for companies. And then when I was 15, during that time, I was performing with a company. I can't say the company,
Okay.
but it was like a youth company. So like they did like productions for younger people that weren't like 18 plus, it was up to 18. So that was kind of my first real professional show. Like I got to perform in London, which was amazing. And yeah, after I graduated, well, I didn't graduate, but after I left the school, that's when I did it professionally. Professionally, yeah.
Okay. Just because you had the skill
Hmm.
set, you decided you were just gonna go do it?
I yeah, so like I actually left before my final year. So you were supposed to do 8 years. I did
Mm-hmm.
7 because I was fed up of the school. I was fed up of them telling me like certain things, and like I was very much a maverick, generally how I am with my music.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to do things their way, and I was like, I'm not gonna do things your way. And I just was, they were like, you need to wait till next year to audition. I was like, I'm not gonna do that. So I just was like, I'm leaving. And then I got a job in America pretty much straight away. So like I just was fed up. I wasn't gonna wait another year, and yeah, I just kind of jumped into
So
the deep
you
end of
that's
that
whenever you
one.
came to Florida that you left the company?
Yeah, so I left school like, well, I left school instead of doing the final year, I did the final year by myself. Like
Mm-hmm.
I did it privately. So I had a private teacher for a year, and I was like not under their training anymore. And then I auditioned by myself without their help, without the school's help. I just did it all by myself. And then when I was 19, so I got into Orlando Ballet, or the like trainee program, when I was like 18, and then I started when I was 19. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because of visas and stuff, it took a while to actually get there.
Okay, so when you left school, you just immediately got your job and in the States, like,
Yeah,
and then you had to leave
pretty much.
because your visa ran out?
Yeah, pretty much. So like I went on holiday in Florida, and I just was like, I asked them if I could dance at this in the class,
Mm-hmm.
and they liked me, and they were like, "Oh, we can offer you like a position here if you want." And I was like, "Yeah."
That's awesome.
That's why yeah.
And then, so would you still be there if your thing hadn't expired?
Probably not. Like I don't think I would have stayed with the company.
Hmm.
Because like the company was, look, when I know, now that I know more about like me as a person, like I don't think I would have fit in there for very long. I really, my dream was to get into one of the companies in England. And I won't say which company because a lot of people in that company know who I am.
Okay.
But that was always my dream. It was either that company or Sarasota Ballet. I really loved Sarasota Ballet, which is in Florida as well. So like I would have tried to move, I think.
That's cool. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So like, so when you were fed up and you finally left, you stopped dancing entirely, or? Well, I
I
noticed
did.
you did do a video where you did a
Mm.
full ballet thing, right? Or maybe two?
Um,
I can't
maybe.
remember. I feel like it was
Oh
Ghost. Like there was a music video.
yeah, guys, yeah, yeah, yeah. So like
Yeah.
I didn't I gave up professionally essentially. So
Hmm.
like I was like, because I can't do certain things because of my injury. I can't like jump to certain extents. I can't lift my leg and hold it there, and like there's certain things I can't do. So I had to give up professionally, but I still tried to incorporate it into my music because I enjoy the feeling of moving my body. It's very natural for me. So, and it's a skill I have, and it looks cool. So
Yeah.
I'm like, use your skills. Yeah.
Well, that's one thing. Like music and dance, like are like almost
Mm.
like they go together. You know what I mean? Like a lot of cultures, like
Yeah.
they don't see music without dance. Like it's strange to even separate it, to just throw it on in the background or to just listen in passing. Like a lot of cultures, they're there's a dance that goes with this song and this song goes with this dance, and they're rarely separate. So um yeah, I just thought that, I think that's like fascinating how like Painted Crusaders shouting out ghost ghost. But yeah, I think it's something that's like lost on, I guess, Western culture, that how we separate music and dance, or I guess in a way we kind of hyper focused, where like
Mhm.
either we're watching a dance group or we're watching a band play or whatever. It's like
Mhm.
it's never come together like in a way that's like, this is what our culture is. You know what I mean? It's just like everything's
Mhm.
been kind of separate and then monetized on its own as like in its
Mhm.
own industry. You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's one thing I like to maintain in music, is like kind of just the old, just the tradition of like making it just to make it, getting in a room with a bunch of people, like jamming or improvising or whatever, and just everybody doing the thing. Like I remember
Mhm.
going to an open mic and the band was going off, and these dudes would get in front of the stage and they just do like doing crazy dances, like just going off, and I'm like, dude, everybody's just having a good time. I was like, this is what really music is about. Like, there's no cameras, nobody's got
Mhm.
their phones out, everybody's just chilling and watching these dudes dance, this band play, and it's just like, that's really what the heart of like where music came from before like industry kind of took it over, and like
Mhm.
before we had to like go out and advertise the monetize it and all that kind of thing, you know.
Mhm.
So I like to try to keep that ideology alive, just the idea of making
Yeah.
music, which is where a lot of like the whole, it's hard to promote yourself or talk about like a single, you dropped it, you don't want to talk about like 7 days in a row, because it's like,
Yeah.
well, I made it because I like making it, but I feel like you'd like it, but I don't want to overstep, and so yeah. um so how soon into like releasing your music did you like discover at Damien Keys, and like when did like he like start giving you pointers and stuff?
That was basically around the time that I think it was either just before I released Bleeding Green or just after, because it was like, um, it wasn't like he wasn't involved in Bleeding Green at all. Like he was involved in the other
Right.
ones after that, like a couple of them after that. So like I would say it was like, so they thought came out in August, around August, September 2020. Yeah.
So when you released Bleeding Green, like, did you notice like, okay, this isn't doing as well as I thought it was, and then you started like looking for like marketing techniques and stuff, or?
Yeah, so I think it was like leading up to, it was so long ago,
Mm.
leading up to like the release of it, I was like looking into the marketing, and then I kind of realized after what I think it was like watching a few of those videos, I realized how much of a big thing releasing 5 songs as my first thing was gonna be, and I was like, oh, I've done this completely wrong. I need a bit of help, essentially.
Yeah, I feel that.
Mm.
Like, I was like kind of on the same stuff. Like, I've released songs before with different groups and bands and stuff like that. But like, when I started releasing my own solo stuff, that's when I kind of discovered him. I was stacking up these songs, and then I kind of discovered Damon Keys. I'm like, should I release a single first? And I'm like, nah, I like doing albums. I still reconcile that. I still do albums. You probably noticed I do at least one a year. Um,
Yeah.
but I still like to do singles in between, and that's what I did. Like, I was like, let me just release like 6 singles that I produced myself, and then I'll
Mm-hmm.
release the album where I went and got help from Greg White, who's at the studio um, that's down the street from where I live. Dope
Mm-hmm.
ass studio called SG Studios. I've recorded a lot there, but yeah, his shit sounds amazing. I like hired a drummer and a string player and all this stuff, so I knew it was gonna sound way better than anything I made. So I just had to release like 5 singles first, and then a cover, and then I finally released my first album. So, um, yeah, but I never really like I did like 90% of like what Damien would say. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
was still like, I'm still
Yeah.
gonna release an album because I like the idea of
Yeah.
an album. I always connected with albums, and I feel like albums like capture like a moment in time. You know what I mean? Like as
Yeah.
far as like
Yeah.
where you are, whereas like singles could be all over the place. Is
Hmm.
that something that why you released 5 songs in your first release?
Yeah, because my idea for it was like I want to break into this industry with these 5 songs.
Hmm.
And I was like, it's a good introduction to what I do. It like gives a mix. It tells a lot of my story. It's like very different. And like I didn't really understand. Yeah, I just had no idea about marketing or anything like that. Like I've marketing something you learn over time. Like I just didn't know. I just thought, oh, I'm gonna release this. It's gonna blow up, which
Yeah,
when you first start, you do think that. And
we all do.
obviously, yeah, like obviously that wasn't the case, but I think I'm still very proud of it. Like I think that was a
Hmm.
massive thing to do for my first like thing. So because I'm like I want to release another EP, but I'm like, how the hell did I even release the first one? Because I can barely get one single out at the moment.
Yeah. No, I feel that. Like time is just like crazy. Sometimes it's like going slow. Sometimes it's going like oh
Yeah,
my god, it's already been 3 years, like or whatever.
literally.
Um, yeah. So like so you basically knew you had to quit dancing because of
Mm.
the injury and everything else. Like
Yeah,
it's the toxicity of the company and or your the industry. How's like
yeah.
what how when did you have time to learn to make music? Like what like your DAW? Like when did you have time to learn the DAW and everything?
So I'd stopped dancing at this point, and I was going into the education route. So it's like at university, my first university. And I had so much time on my hands because like where I lived, it was really away from uni and away from campus, and like I had no friends. And my partner at the time lived about 2 hours away, so like I couldn't hang out with him. And like I had so much free time, and I was like just like I really wanted to do something, and I was actually like looking at Ableton, and I was actually making like trying to make musical theater songs, like because I was like, I don't even ask me. I was writing a musical at one point, um, and then somehow it just kind of transposed into electronic stuff, and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. And then it was like, oh, I'm gonna put these lyrics to this music, and then that's how it
Oh,
happened. Yeah, I
nice.
just had a lot of free time.
So you were like you were interested in making music and you were also writing poetry, but did you know that they were eventually going to come together, or were you just like,
No, I had no idea. I had no idea at all
that's
that
awesome?
was gonna happen.
So do you
Yeah.
ever plan on releasing anything instrumental?
Um, mm, not under, probably not under Mysterious's name. I'd love to, like, maybe when I've done a bit more work with Mysterious, like I would release something more musical, just for myself more than anything, because I have made some really beautiful instrumental tracks, but I definitely wouldn't do it under the Mysterious name. It would
Okay.
be,
Well,
yeah.
we're all looking forward to that. Automatically had an interesting question. Like, what are the differences and similarities of being a dancer and making music?
The similarities is connecting to an idea. Like for me, a lot of people in the dance industry are not like this, but for me, dancing was always about telling a story. And that is exactly the same with music. Like I do, and I feel like you are exactly the same. Like you can't release a song about nothing. It has to have a purpose, has to have meaning.
Yeah,
And it's a shame for me sometimes when I hear songs and I'm like, this has no emotional meaning behind it, and like where is the soul? And so I guess that's a similarity. It's all about connecting to something. And I think the dedication and time you have to put in as well is very similar, like
most
I
definitely.
would say. Hmm.
So, do you have any like, instrumentals that that you want to release, but you're like this can't have lyrics to it, like that you know?
Yeah, the original Bleeding Green song that I ended up scrapping, the instrumental for that is really cool. It's like more like an EDM kind of like
Okay,
track,
so you
but it
just couldn't
sounds
get the
really
lyrics to
good.
fit on top of it?
Yeah, I would love to just release it without the lyrics because it doesn't work with the
Okay,
does not work.
so the one
So
that's released,
maybe
like that beat, you have it without lyrics?
no. So I no. So like basically, what happened is I had the original, which is the one that has not been released, and I tried to put lyrics on top of the
Oh,
original. It
okay.
didn't work, so I rewrote the instrumental track to
Okay,
fit
so
the lyrics.
you still have
I
it in
do
the bank,
somewhere.
but it just it still has
Yes,
lyrics on top of it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it doesn't have the
Oh,
lyrics.
okay.
I think I scrapped it all. So it is somewhere on a hard drive somewhere.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, dude. I was always interested in making instrumentals, but I never really listened to instrumentals, so I never
Mm,
really like released them except for like that intro and outro to Sic Parvis Magna. That kind of, well, it's got samples and stuff on top of it. It's still words, so yeah, it's something I've always like struggled with because like really my main passion in making music has always been like making the music, and lyrics were always kind of like an afterthought. You know what I mean? Like I want
okay.
them to mean something, and I want them to
Mm,
like be good, whatever that means to me. But like it was always like whatever fits the mood of this song. The music
yeah.
would normally come first for me. Like,
Right.
did you ever play
Yeah.
any instruments?
I did. I was very, very lucky growing up because my parents really kind of tried to give me the opportunity to do many, many different hobbies and things, and I was very blessed to be able to do that. So I learned how to play the viola, which is a big violin,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I had guitar lessons and like tin whistle, which is like a recorder. Um, and yeah, like so I kind of self-taught myself piano. I'm not great at it, but I can do it pretty
hmm
much, like very basic songs. Um, yeah, so I can play a few different instruments.
That's cool. That's
Mm,
something that I'm like I wish I would have learned piano or like been more proficient at piano because like when it comes to, like working with the DAW and like MIDI, like it's so much easier to just play it into
uh-huh.
the DAW and
Yeah,
get an idea down.
yeah,
But like they have guitar equipment now that you can like turn a guitar into a
yeah.
MIDI pattern. But like yeah, it would have been way more convenient to have learned piano like in
Uh-huh.
hindsight.
Yeah.
But yeah, so have you ever like played on one of your tracks like recorded yourself playing like viola or anything?
And now I haven't because I do the same as you. I have a MIDI keyboard and I'm just like
Mm-hmm.
put in whatever like instrument I want and I'm like doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. Like I would like to get my viola back out at some point. I've not played it in years though, so it would be interesting. But I think it would provide a richer sound because sometimes like the VSTs you can use don't sound great
Yeah.
unless I bought a really good one, but they can be very expensive.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it's just better to just use the actual organic instrument.
Yeah. Sometimes like that's why I hired Milo. Like I said, I hired a string player. I've hired him 3 times, and
Mm,
it's because like I want to put like some string section or orchestral kind of string section on a song, but I know that this even if I wrote it, there's no way I could get it to sound like an actual
mm,
orchestra with like at least the VSTs I have and stuff like that, and without spending a lot of money. And I could just hire Milo, and it's real and it's awesome. You can hear
mm-hmm.
the scrag. He like Greg calls them scragglies, like where he like just does really weird like endings and beginnings to phrases that just like it's really cool. Like you can't really like program a scraggly.
No, no, exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's dope. But what DAW were you using?
What doll?
Yeah, like what digital audio workstation?
Oh, sorry, I was confused for a second. Ableton.
Ableton. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah,
That's
Ableton Live. I started with the light version, but I have the pro version now. Yeah,
is that what you learned on?
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, I've not dabbled in any of the others. I wanted to do Cubase at one point, but I could not get my head around it, so
hmm
I just went back to Ableton.
That's the same thing. Like that's what we all deal with. Like I started learning on FL Studio, and then I kind of dabbled in
Mm,
Logic. My friend had a Mac, and then I liked some things about it, but when I came back to FL, I was like, I'm comfortable here. you know, it's
yeah.
like I don't want to be anywhere else. This is my DAW. Um, yeah. So, like, have you made like songs that you haven't released? Like, are
Oh
there?
God, there's so yeah, there's hundreds of them. There's hundreds.
I could imagine.
Yeah, yeah. There's one with one of the beats that you produced for me.
Oh yeah.
That's like yeah, the lyrics are done for that. I have tried to record some of it, so I know where it's going, but that's one of them that's not released. Like there's loads of them, and I'm really bad because I'll start something and then I'll be like get frustrated, so I go into another song, and then they never get finished, and like it's really annoying. I have to commit to a project really.
It happens. I mean, like it's easy to get distracted by something that you're more interested in, and as long as like you're staying
Mm.
productive, like you can say abandon that track and then you start a new one. Well, this one might go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? As long as like
Yeah,
I'm gonna abandon this and get on my phone for two
yeah,
hours, that's like
yeah,
better than doing that. So
yeah,
then you can stock
yeah.
up all these tracks, and then you have you can mine them later. For jewels and gold,
Yes,
which
exactly. Yeah, that's
which I've
very
done a
true.
lot too.
Hmm.
Have you done that with any like recent songs, like where you went back and like, well, this was awesome. Let me
Yeah,
use this.
yeah. Pandora's Box was like it was not supposed to be released next,
Mm,
and actually, like one of the ones that I'm trying to work on now is was supposed to be released,
mm.
and I was like, I just can't. Something was not working with the one I'm working on now, and I was like, well, this song is already done. I've made the track, and like I was just like, I'm just gonna release it, and it was the finished product was not how I wanted it to sound, but I was like, I cannot wait any longer, and actually, people have given me a lot of compliments on it, so I'm guessing it turned out great.
On Pandora's Box, you didn't like the end product?
I like the end product, but it's not how it was written. It I had to change it again.
Okay.
'Cause a lot of the time, like how I think it's gonna sound in my head when I try to record it, it doesn't transpose. It just doesn't work. So I have to change like the melody or whatever. So yeah, it would have been a different sound completely. So there's a version in my head that sounds completely different.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sometimes like it always like happened to me when I was like drawing like actual art.
Mm,
Like you'd think of
mm.
something and it does not come out anything like you think.
No.
And
Yeah.
that's probably been my biggest hurdle in like trying to release stuff, because like never not happened to me. Like, do you
Yeah.
have any songs that like when you released it, you're like, that's exactly how I wanted it to sound?
Um, that's a good question. Probably not. They've all changed somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think every single one of them has changed. I think, yeah.
Hmm.
Looking back, I've changed all the melodies at some point.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, yeah, I don't know. I had a thought and then I completely lost it. um, yeah, just like no, I have no idea where I was going with that. I was trying to think about like music and melodies and stuff like that, but it's like
Mm,
sometimes you get attached to like an idea, and then when you like, for instance, like I write like a vocal melody on a piano, right? And then I'll
mm.
go to sing that melody, and for some reason it just like, why does this not sound good as a vocal like
Yeah.
I intended? So it kind of gets
Oh, yeah.
irritating.
I have that problem with rap because in my head it sounds like it's gonna work, and then I rap it and it sounds like that's not no. Stop.
Like, what happened? That's not how it sounded
Yeah.
in my head. Automatica said he hasn't heard your first EP yet, but since you said it's based on your teen years, what were the biggest trials and tribulations that inspired it, and what were good memories from that time?
Well, the good memories from that time, few and far between. Yeah. It was a lot of it was about my time at boarding school, and I was very like depressed at boarding school. Like I
Okay,
was to
real
the
quick,
point.
I don't really.
Yeah.
What actually is boarding school? Like, I think Hey Arnold was in one or something.
So it's like you live at school, so you sleep at school,
Oh,
you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner at school.
oh, that does
Yeah.
not sound fun.
No, it was like jail. It really was.
Oh
It's
shit.
very strict. Yeah. Yeah, so I went there from age 11, so like the majority of my childhood growing up, like the
Wow.
really key years where I
Yeah.
was developing into an adult was spent like at a boarding school. So it kind of really, yeah, affected me and my mental health. And so like the EP is a lot about my mental health during that time and struggles like that. And I also had like difficulties in like um my relationship, my very first relationship, and stuff going on at home. So like it's all like stuff like that, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds
But good
crazy.
memories. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
you're
you.
good. It just sounds like a lot of like, I guess being watched like a hawk and like just,
Oh my God, yeah,
yeah, like having to
absolutely.
live there, live at school. Like, I just can't even
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, well, I developed a really bad paranoia actually, and that's like
Oh
one of the main
shit.
reasons I wear a mask is because I had no private life. Like everybody knew my business, everyone knew where I was, and everyone knew like I don't know how, like, but I started to feel like everyone was watching me all the time, and like it gave me a lot of anxiety. And so like
Mm.
when I wanted to break away from the dance industry, I was like, I never ever want to feel like that again, where I feel like everyone knows everything about me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna create a complete persona where no one knows. Because I didn't want that paranoia again.
Oh, that's awesome. Like it's like
Mm.
it's a really cool level of inspiration. So like the name
Mm.
came with the mask.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
So it's like
yeah.
you came with those together. That's really cool. Like, I totally understand now. Like why you want like, want to be
Yeah.
like the secretive, like mysterious person. Like it's
Yeah.
very interesting to be like have to be scrutinized like every day for your entire like
Mm-hmm.
teenage years. Like that really is, like you said, the most important years of your life. And
Yeah.
it's kind of the opposite for me and my brother. Like we were stunted and socially raised strange up until we were 13, 14, and then we finally stayed in a
Right.
stable kind of healthier environment. But anyways, I can't even imagine, because I know that was where I was like developing mentally the most.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, you can talk about the good memories from that time if you want to go.
The good memories I guess were like my friends because we were like there was only like 11 girls in my year and I'd grown up with these girls like they were my family. They were my sisters and we also had boys as well in our
Mm-hmm.
year group. But like they were my family because I was away from my family, so that was my family. And like it was like I guess trauma bonding because we were
Yeah.
like all going through it. And so like the the level that we developed a relationship and a friendship is very much more like a sibling relationship that rather than friendship. So like there's two of my best friends, like they are pretty much my sisters to me. And so they were kind of the best thing because they've seen me go through absolutely everything and they were there. Like there would be times when I was like in my bedroom crying on the floor and they would be there like holding me and making sure I was okay and like things like that. Like I don't know, that was the best. That's not like that sounds terrible example of the best thing was like I was crying and they were
Yeah.
but
But that's, I
but
mean,
yeah,
that
the
kind of stuff will
friendships.
mess you up. So like I can imagine
Yeah.
like you're just like having someone there for you in these kind of like these terrible conditions. You know what I mean? I can see how you see that as good. Because you definitely need people like that. Because otherwise, it'd just be you by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome. Like he's also said, is there any crazy stories about you guys being hooligans? Like, did you do anything like?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we used to do really like it sounds stupid, but like we used to steal things from the kitchen and like we stole loads of vegetables once and we used to do stuff like leave them outside the house parent. So the house parent was like the woman that looks after you. We
Okay.
used to leave them in like shapes, like inappropriate shapes. Yeah.
I already saw where you're going with that. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It reminds me of a
Yeah, and we used
great
to like
IHOP experience we had.
oh really?
Yeah. But
Um,
yeah,
go
just
ahead, yeah.
causing no, yeah, just causing mischief around the
Yeah,
house.
stuff like that. Like we used to wind up the house parents all the time, and like the house we lived in, there was like 3 floors, so and an elevator. So like we would in the middle of the night like knock on her door, then like run and like get in the elevator, and like as she was running towards us, the elevator would close. We'd be like putting the middle fingers to her
Yeah.
and
Straight up. Did you
stuff
ever
like
get in
that.
trouble for stuff like that, or was she like kind of cool about it,
Yeah,
or?
I got in massive trouble. Like there was one time, like it was really, really inappropriate, but she got one of the house parents, she got so annoyed at me that like she came into my room at nighttime and she grabbed my mattress and she threw it into the corridor and like I had to sleep on like the wooden planks, which is like pretty much child abuse. Like
That
that's not
is
okay.
not pretty much. It definitely is child abuse. Oh my god.
Yeah, yeah. So I got in trouble like stuff like that.
Oh my
basically.
god, dude! But you kept doing it just because of the authority, or
Yeah,
what?
because it was fun.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I could imagine. Like, I would definitely be doing some like punk rock crazy stuff like that. Do you ever like leave when
Hmm.
you're not supposed to, like go out all night or something like that?
Yeah, I did. I did. When I was a bit older, when I was 17, I actually walked out of the building a few times, which was like, and I'd get calls from them like, where are you? And I would be like, I'm in the city center, like eating the chocolate bar. Like, and they'd be like, you
Just
need to come back right now. And like they'd call my parents and be like, she's run off. And I used to do that a lot, but I was so fed up, like it felt so trapped that I was like, I'm yeah, no.
yeah, you just had to escape in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Mhm.
Fucking yeah. So how'd you end up in boarding school? Like, who decided? Who decides that?
My parents, I had to audition, so I had to
Oh,
audition
that
to,
was the boarding school.
yeah,
Okay.
that was the ballet school, yeah, ballet boarding school.
Wow, that's so
So
crazy.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I auditioned.
so that first EP was about this whole time from like what when you got into the school and when you left.
No, so it was from when I was 16 to like 21.
Okay,
So it's like the other half of it, pretty
okay,
much. It's not the first half, the second half, I would say.
okay.
Hmm.
So when you came back, um, and you were what you were living in Warwickshire again, like from
Warwickshire.
yeah Warwickshire. Like you're laughing at me. I was not paying attention at the time. My bad.
That's okay.
All right, back to it. Quick recovery. Yeah, so yeah, you're. I do not know how to pronounce some words over there. My bad.
That's
Warwick,
okay. We have really
Warwickshire,
weird Warwickshire, yeah.
Warwickshire. Okay, yeah. So okay, you're recording music. Um, oh yeah. So I was gonna ask you about Mr. E. Like, when did he come into play and start participating in like the covers and stuff?
Oh, that oh. So, uh, it frustrates me so much because that was like my partner at the time. So like when I
Okay.
first started Mysterious, I was in a relationship and I was with this guy for 4 years. So like this was 2020, like we ended our relationship in 2020. The
Oh.
very end, yeah. So when I first started releasing music, August and November, he was like so he I won't give too many details about him, but like he was into cameras and stuff. So like he was supposed to be helping me with all of this and like filming my music videos and like he was supposed to play a bigger part in it and like he was like supposed to be this plague doctor and at first he was really interested in getting involved and stuff and then like after our relationship ended like it was tricky because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to keep the whole character there. And like I kept the character for Field. My brother actually played the character.
Okay. So it switched
My
people.
Yeah, so my brother stepped in and then I decided, I'm gonna essentially kill off this character. So like for Ghost, the cover is literally like someone as a ghost to kind
Mhm.
of represent the Mr. E is dead, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
interesting. So, I thought I knew that he was your brother, but I didn't know that your brother replaced who originally
Yeah,
was.
my brother replaced my ex-boyfriend,
Because
yeah.
he was also in a video, right?
Right? Yeah, so he's in Field. He's
Field.
in Field, the music video, yeah.
Is that your brother or your ex?
That's my brother. No, it's not
Okay,
my ex though. That's my brother, yeah.
okay. Those videos too, like so you made your own music and arranged all that. Did you do the videos too?
I did, yeah. So I did everything. So Field, me and my brother, we filmed that. Ghost, I filmed most of that by myself. And my mum, my mum filmed like the skeleton bit in the car park. Like I was like, because it was dancing and my mum has a dance background, so I was like, can you help me out with this? So she was like, we drove and she was like, we did it in 2 takes because I could see she was getting tired. So
Yeah.
just like I just do it. Um, yeah. So and then Jealous was 100% by myself. No one else helped with that.
Wow.
And then yeah, that was the first one that was completely by myself.
Dang. And you still were like releasing pretty often too. So like
Yeah.
So you would like record a song and then have it ready and then do the video. Did they drop on the same day?
No, they Fields kind of was the only one that was very close. I think it was Ghost was like maybe a month or so after the song came out. I can't quite remember, but and then my other one, yeah, like I think Universe was came out the same day, maybe, perhaps. But that one was a really easy music video because I was just on holiday, just doing random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so they don't usually come out the same day. I try to, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's a tall task. Like it really is. Like
Mm,
to especially if you are writing and recording and composing and
yeah,
arranging and doing
yeah.
everything, then you go and shoot a video. Like that's ridiculous. Like yo, Mysterious putting in work, guys. This is how you do it. It's incredible. So let's see. Your last release was Pandora's Box, right?
Yes,
Okay, I remember when that came. Did that come out this year?
it
Yeah,
did.
it came
Yeah,
out.
that came out in February or March or something.
Oh man, this year has kind of flew by, huh? February 24th. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely slowed down my pace too. I noticed like so you released really consistently like in the first bit, and then
Yeah.
it kind of slowed down like in the
Yeah.
last couple
It,
years. Which is
it
that because
definitely
there's
slowed
just
down.
so much to do in socials and stuff.
It was a bit of like a couple of things. Like I think my mental health kind of took a hit, and like I started getting really bad anxiety, and like and like my final year of uni was coming up, and like it just was like I had different priorities, and like my mental health was definitely my priority because like it was getting to the point where I lost a lot of weight again, and like I was like I need to sort myself out, so I took like a break from it all, and then like I'm kind of my mental health is in so much better place now, so I feel like I can finally try to get back into the consistency I was in before. But I really had to take like a good step away, and like I was instead of focusing on releasing stuff, I was focusing more on like gig scenes and like the pub gig scene, which was is completely different to what I do online on my social media and Spotify. So like I took a break to focus on my singing and stuff like that, which has been it's been nice, but I want to get back into the rap stuff now.
Yeah. So have you been
hmm
like practicing new tracks or styles, like performing live, or like have you done anything live you haven't released?
Yeah, so sometimes at the open mics I will do the some of the stuff that I haven't released. Like if I'm doing a pub gig, if they don't want my music, so like they'll want me to do the cover songs and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really been able to perform my own music, but then I managed to get a gig where it was my music, which was amazing, and that was on stage in Birmingham, and I did a festival as well. So I have managed to do some opportunities where I'm doing my own music, which has been really nice, and I have done some new stuff there, which has been good, and it's been received well. So yeah, it's been had some chance, I guess.
That's cool. Like, how often do you do these cover shows?
Um, I wish I could do them like more than I do. Like I tend to only get one a month, and that is primarily because one, I don't put in enough effort to get them.
Mm.
Like it's a lot. Like you have to email and call up venues, and like that can get very exhausting. Most of the gigs I've got has been word of mouth, and because I like know the people that work in the pubs.
Hmm.
So generally I get one a month because I don't really do the work that I should do. But also I have a lot of like it's difficult because I wear a mask and people don't really receive it well in a pub. They don't really I've found that like they'd rather I am without the mask, which is fair enough because it's not really
So
like
these are
it
like
wasn't made.
the promoters are like, do they want you to take off the mask sometimes?
No, it's more the people in the pubs.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I'll get a lot of comments from people coming up to me like afterwards and being like, "Oh, why do you wear a mask?" Or like I think you should take the mask off and like things like that.
Dude, it's
and
people. Everybody always has like a really strong opinion on what you should do. Like one of the things
yeah.
I get a lot because I have a lot of tattoos. People go, "Oh, you should get blank tattoo." Like, and I'm like, "Oh,
Ah,
do you know me that well that you know like I would be down with getting a Stewie from Family Guy tattoo? Because I don't watch
ah.
Family Guy. Why would I get that? You know?" So like
Uh-huh.
it seems like, sometimes people just have a better idea for what you should do than you. It's like I don't know where that
Yeah.
ideology comes from. I'm not coming
Oh
over here to
yeah,
tell you
100%.
what you're drinking Guinness. No, you need to drink, I don't know, beer. Automatica's not here anyways. But you know what I mean. Yeah, it's weird. What kind of covers do you play?
I love doing 80s stuff, obviously, because I grew up with it, and I do like just like try to do some modern songs and stuff like that. Like, have enjoyed it a lot, but like, I definitely want to take a back seat now with the pub gig scenes. Mainly because like I am at a stage where I am frustrated that I can't get into it because of the mask. Like I did do a gig without the mask actually, like for my neighbor for his birthday, and like I think after
Like
that it kind
nothing
of
at all?
sealed my.
Like did you do like big makeup or anything?
No, no. So like he was just like they had a surprise birthday for him, and I was invited, and he said, "Oh, please could you perform for me?" And I said, okay. So I got all my equipment and I was like, I just did a private gig basically without my mask. And unfortunately, it kind of sealed my fate because I had so many people afterwards being like, we prefer it when you don't have the mask. Like, I don't think you should ever wear it again. Like, this is so much better. Like, this is what people want to see. And I kind of actually like I did a reflecting and I was like, um, okay, well, I just don't think this is gonna fit in with the pub scene. And so I'm actually like gonna step away in terms of like mysterious. I'm gonna step away from the pub scene. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a bad decision because not because I don't enjoy it, but more because like I just don't want to get the comments anymore. Like,
Yeah, like you need to
yeah.
serve the art, like it
Hmm,
doesn't make sense. Painted said your masks are the favorite part, one of her favorite parts of your aesthetic. Yeah, and then
thank
she said
you.
stick to what makes you feel comfortable. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, you definitely need to do you. It's like especially like
Hmm.
if you were growing up in in a room like trapped in a room where people are always telling you what to do and where to go and how to act and what to
Yeah.
wear. Like, why the hell would you let this audience that may or may not even follow you, like,
Hmm.
apart from this one show, like, why would you let them dictate what you should do? Like, do you?
Yeah, well that's it. Like I think if any I think they don't realize I have like a whole online fan
Mm-hmm.
base and a whole like story and like Spotify stuff like that. I think they think that it's like for the pub scene. So for me, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna take the character of Mysterious away from that scene. Like, if maybe if like someone says, "Oh, can you do a gig?" Like they know me personally, I will do it without the mask because it's a bit of money. But I think Mysterious is done with the pub scene for
Oh,
now. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Hmm.
Like, so whenever you were doing covers, like, how did you usually play? Do you have like like backing tracks, or you play guitar, or?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have I'm gonna butcher this name, a Bose stack, and
Mhm.
it's like an L1 Bose stack, and it's like a speaker system, and then I plug my mic in, just go,
Just sing.
and there we go.
Is there okay?
Yeah.
What song is like that you nail? Like this is a song that's gonna be everybody's attention.
Yeah, so Someone Like You by Adele. Like
Oh yeah.
I've got I have got that like to a T. Like I'm really, really good at that one. I know I am. So like I can say that.
That's
I'm not
awesome.
I know that sounds egotistical, but like I know I can nail that one.
No,
Um
like when you know, you know.
mhm.
Yeah, it's good to be like it's not really egotistical, it's like confident, but like I don't know, self-aware. Like you know,
Yeah.
not much of an ego. You're hitting the notes. You watch it back if you record it or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
oh yeah, I
no,
got that
definitely.
one. Sometimes
Yeah.
like I'm like one of the like artists. I don't know if it's cliche or whatever, but I cannot stand my own voice. I hate my own singing voice. I wish it was like the
Hmm.
opposite of what it is, and a lot
Mm.
of things about it. But like sometimes when I hit like certain timbres, really, it's more about like
Mm.
timbre. If I get like a good grit in my voice or something, and like a line or something, I'm like, oh, I nailed it on that one. Or, like I know when it's good, I know when it's bad. So it helps you learn to be better too. You what parts to work on and stuff like that. So yeah, and Adele, that's hard to do. Like not everybody can sing Adele, so that's really dope.
Yeah. I mean that song I've been doing over and over again for ages, and I think once you just do it over and over again, it just becomes second nature. So, yeah.
Most definitely, yeah. Have you ever considered like releasing like a professional, like a produced cover, like paying for the license and putting it out?
Yes, I really want to do a cover of Only You by Yazoo.
I don't
It's like a
even.
song.
You might have to link me to
I
that.
think I think you'd recognize it. It's a song from the 80s and it's my favorite song in the entire world, but it's like very upbeat, so I would want to change it to a minor and make it
Ah,
darker. Yeah.
see, that's what I was gonna ask you. Is like when you approach a cover song, like would you like like why do you want to approach that song and like changing it for like my like major to minor and stuff like that? I love that type of um yeah, that arrangement because a lot like yeah, it's a lot of people don't hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
what's a good example? What's that song? The Tears for Fears, beautiful Mad World or something.
Mad World, yeah,
Yeah.
by Gary Jules. His cover
Mm-hmm.
is amazing.
It's
Absolutely.
incredible. When I heard the original, like, cause I heard the cover first. When I heard the original, I
Mm.
was like, "Holy shit!" Like, I had no idea it sounded like this. It's incredible. I love both songs. Painted asked if she can expect any collabs with us one day, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, sooner than later, because I definitely like I've definitely slowed down a lot. I released my record this year, and then did a released a bunch of my instrumentals, but I've been like this is the first point in my career or whatever that I've released all the music that I have. I have nothing else recorded. Like when I released Forget
Awesome.
Me, I had like 6 more singles ready to go for that
Hmm.
year. And when I released Sick Harvest Magna, I had like I was working on stuff with Mike and stuff like that. Like at this point, I have like except for one cover that's coming pretty soon. I don't have any original songs that I've completely written and finished, and it's kind of scary. But anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, I hope to get back and work more efficiently. Like you said, like mental health has
Yeah.
been hard to come by, especially recently. But I started going to therapy, so betterhelp.com/ what no.
So, I've used BetterHelp as well.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Like at least this is a good base to start with. I can't wait. Like Panda is so excited for something that doesn't even exist yet. Don't pressure us. One day, no, one day. I definitely feel it. Like, I got songs like, and also I wanted to have you on the next Cosmos and Chaos too. Like, if you were down, um, I told like a couple other people I had in mind about this, but like the next Cosmos and Chaos, like me and Mike's next record, I want to have like
Hmm.
a different feature on every track, and I thought that'd be really cool
Oh,
to kind of just like
awesome. Yeah.
go really crazy because the first one the style was all over the place. Like I would have like a crazy guitar solo, and sometimes I'd rap, sometimes I'd sing, and just it was like all over the place. So I was like, this one I feel like can kind of double down on that and have every song be its like own entity, and this whole its own
Mm-hmm.
sound, and kind of adopt different artists, and just do the dang thing. Yeah, but BetterHelp / After Dark. There you go. There's a free affiliate link that's not even from this channel. Yeah. I said I don't have anything on the back burner. Is that a good base to start with? Is that what you're saying? Like that's a good line. Shout out Dr. Drew. Yes, we appreciate doctors for helping us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what Painted said. Don't have anything on the
Mm.
back burner. We'll workshop it. Hell yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about later songs then. So, oh yeah. So
Okay.
you did a couple tracks with Taffy T. Like, how did you link up with Taffy, and like how did those
Mm.
songs come in?
Taffy is one of my best friends, so we've only met in person once. But like basically he was part of Damien Key's group as well. So
Mm-hmm.
like we met through that, but we didn't meet by talking about music. Like I don't really know how it happened, but we replied to each other's stories like because we liked each other's content and stuff like that. And then like I was in the Isle of Wight, which is a little island, and he was going through some stuff, and he like sent me a voice note, and I was like, kind of that's how a friendship develops because I'm really good at like helping people through problems and stuff like that, and like I think after that day we spoke every single day. So that was like 2 years ago. There hasn't been a day where I haven't spoken to him.
Wow.
And yeah, and he was like, Misty, I need you on this single. Can you like send me some vocals? And I was like, yeah, okay. And that's how I got onto his tracks as well.
That's awesome. Like that's always a beautiful thing when something like that happens. You know,
Hmm.
like you never know. Like I always think of like a Seinfeld joke where he's like, whenever you're like later, like late 20s or 30s or something like that, he's like, your friend circle is like that's who your friend circle is. Like we're no longer
Hmm.
taking applications. These are the people I talk to, or whatever. Some joke
Hmm.
like that, and I'm like, social media like that was like 80s or 90s or whatever. But like social media is like kind of like flipped on its head, you know, where like you never know like who you might develop a relationship with or like become best
Yeah.
friends with, you know. Like I'm in Limbo, like I collabed with him last year and I met him on the same kind of whim, but he's a Twitch streamer. He also makes music and stuff like that. We collabed, but like, you know, he's one of those dudes. I'm in his chat every week, and you know, like we met up in real life like one time, this last couple 3 weeks ago or whatever. So it's crazy how things like that can blossom, and you know how
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
always like personally I've always seen like social media as like a detriment and like as something I'd never want to be a part of, but like
Hmm.
it's because of it that I've like met you and Limbo and Vash and like I even met Painted online. You probably know that whole story, you know. Like we
Hmm.
met online
Hmm.
3 years before we like moved in together and we were long distance. So
Hmm.
like it's insane. The internet's crazy. As much as I hate it, it's like I got to be like, I appreciate you sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you ever had like some type of like disdain towards social medias or anything like that? Especially from like not wanting to show your face.
Yeah, like I guess when I was in the ballet industry, because it felt again like an intrusion of privacy, and I felt like I was so like tired of like I couldn't even post about stuff I wanted to post because I would have people being like, "Why are you there? Why are you with that person? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that?" And I had to like every post I put had to be like geared towards ballet or whatever because the companies watch it, the school watches it, the teachers looking at it, and like I was like I felt like a puppet. It's just I wrote a song called Puppet on the EP
Oh yeah.
about that whole thing. Like I just thought like well, what is the point of this social media? This isn't for me anymore. It's for this brand because when you're a dancer, it's like music. You are a brand, and so
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, it was. Yeah, I hated it at that point.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what made you like? What made you decide to like go in and create like Instagram and start managing it?
Oh, mysterious.
Yeah, or like just any socials at all. I guess like is that you like your only
Oh,
social?
no. So I do have a like I have a private
Mm-hmm.
Instagram for like my personal life,
Mm-hmm.
and I have like my mysterious stuff, and like I won't even add people I know in my town on my personal. Like my personal, there's only 100 people on there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I keep it very, very private for the reasons
Yeah.
so I do have social media, but I keep it very, very small. Like even on my personal Facebook, I have like 25 friends or something.
Oh my god,
Like
she's a
yeah,
catfish.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's like people if people saw that, they'd be like, oh, what is this? This is a bit dodgy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I think I just hit
Mm.
like almost 700, but I just like
Yeah.
at one point I was just like adding everybody that I knew, but then it started being like I get requests from people like I have no idea who you are, and like if you have like
Mm,
less than like 20 mutual friends, I'm like I'm not adding you.
mm.
Like I don't know who you
Yeah.
are. You need to
Yeah.
know some people that I know.
Right.
You
Hmm.
know, it's weird like to be out there. You know, like especially when that started. I'm not a brand. I'm an ad. Modern Moniker's an advertisement. Painted is an angelfish. I agree with that. She's more of like a goat maid, I guess. Capricorn, right? Yeah, fucking socials, man. Like, I just assumed that you might like have sworn them off at some point, or just not been
I
attached to them.
did, I did. Yeah, I did. After my ballet career, I completely went off social media at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I didn't have anything. I had nothing. I had Viber to talk to my boyfriend at the time, and that was the only social media I had. And yeah, it felt amazing. And then I like went to uni and I wanted to connect more with people, and so I started an Instagram again, and I was like dipping my toes back into it, and
Yeah.
then it kind of yeah, you always end up back where you started, I think, sometimes.
All right, I guess Automarcus got another question coming, but he hasn't said it yet. Do you have
Okay.
any works, anything in the works with Taffy T? Any more collabs in the future?
Um, Taffy T wants to do, yes, he said that he wants me to do some more stuff for him. Some, I don't know what. Like, usually with Taffy, like, he'll just say, "Can you just do this?" Well, he sent me it and then be like, "What do you think of this? Can you add something to this?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." So he does want to do more stuff, so like I'm just waiting on what he's doing. So we'll see, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So whenever like he gives you the track, like does he let you kind of just have free reign with it, or does he have an idea of like what he wants you to do?
No, he just leaves it completely up to me. Like it just like, and usually he'll say, "Oh, can you just do like a singing thing?" And then I'll add something else, and then he'll be like, "Oh, I'm keeping it. Like, don't worry." Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's awesome. I remember recording some saxophone with my with this dude Reese. He was on One for the One, and we recorded so many takes. Like
Mm,
I swear, close to like 50 takes, and like came in the next week and he recorded on a completely different saxophone a whole nother take.
mm.
But then we ended up going with the first one because the second saxophone just had a completely different timbre. He just brought a different one. He's like, I
Okay.
don't know why I brought a different one. So I ended up just rendering all that into its own stack of like samples. Like these are just
Mm.
saxophone melodies I could use, and that's what I turned into one of the ones on Cosmos and Chaos. Automatica said it's a stupid question, but he's serious. As a Brit, do you wonder why you pronounce it privacy, but the word private is with the hard I?
Privacy? Private? Privacy. Privacy? I don't know. Some people say privacy though, so
Yeah, we say
yeah.
I don't know.
I
I knew
don't know.
Automatica would come
Like,
in with the, the stupid questions.
I don't know.
Yeah, he said a really dumb question about language and dialects are extremely interesting to him. Now I'm the same way though. There's this other podcast I listen to called 20,000 Hertz, and it's all about like sound. Basically, it's like
Hmm.
I listen to it because I like basically or only listen to stuff that has to do with music or sound and timbres and stuff like that. Really interested in that. Um, but this one is like everything, like from hearing to like can't even think of like whatever things. But they had a whole episode on dialects and how they evolved, through
Yeah.
and there's like even a guy that was like a dialect predictor or whatever. Like he said something like he'd imagine that eventually like the difference between a th and like thin and they would eventually somehow meld together or something like that. And I'm like, it's
Hmm.
really that's kind of stuff is like really like automatic. I question everything. Darn tootin'. But yeah, I was always like really interested in stuff like that too, because we were raised really Christian too. So like our
Yeah.
entire history of language is like the Tower of Babel, where like we all spoke the
Oh,
same
okay.
language, and then God was like, now y'all can't communicate, and it's like I don't think that's quite as interesting as like actual evolution, where
Yeah.
how with Latin and the split and all that
Mm.
kind of stuff. It's really interesting stuff to me. But yeah, I'm glad he brought that up. Let me ask you let me ask you a question I usually start with. What's the best live show that you've ever been to? Like that you've gone to see that you've not been on?
There's two. So like I saw Sifa live. Um, oh, it feels like 2 years ago, but it was like about 5 years ago now.
Mm.
And it was either Sifa or Black Veil Brides. But with Sifa, I think I'm gonna go with Sifa because it was very close. I managed to get tickets quite close. We were in the balcony and they were kind of close. And it was just, I don't know, it was like my whole like childhood hearing those songs. And then like at the end they were throwing like guitar picks
Oh
and
yeah,
I managed to get one. So
that's always
that way,
awesome. I got one
yeah,
from one of my first shows too. You just reminded me. I completely forgot about that, but that happened to me too.
it's the best feeling
It
because you're
is.
like, oh, yes, I got it.
That's awesome. So like, was there anything like actually like theatrical or about the presentation?
Yeah, so the lighting I found is really important actually. Like when they've kind of set the lighting to match with the sound or whatever, or like the theme of the song, like it just brings the whole energy up, and it just kind of immerses you into the experience. I found that like those are the best shows. Like the lighting is so important. Like Black Veil Brides has a lot of lighting in their shows, and like costume changes. Did they have costume changes? I think someone changed a costume at some point,
Mm.
and like stuff like that. It's like, yeah, it's I don't know. It's just it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I always went to like smaller shows, like, you know, 500 max, 500 in the house, you know,
Mm.
and sometimes even less. And like the first really big shows I went to were last year, like 2022. It's probably my favorite year of live shows ever. I saw Alt J, Jacob Collier, Open Mike Eagle, Sloth Rust, um,
Oh
like one
yeah.
more. But yeah, it
So
was,
Painted sent me a CD of stuff first. So
yeah, they're
yeah.
amazing. Yeah, especially if you like Seether, and just rock in general. I definitely recommend them. They're incredible. Um, Great live show too, and that was like a smaller venue too. But they had like, you can see this Lothros poster right there. There's like
Hmm.
clouds and like these moth animal things on it. These weird moth balls.
Okay.
I wonder if they're actual mothballs. But anyways, now I'm curious. But anyway, they had them like real versions of them hanging from like the stages, and there was like some cloud,
Oh,
like cotton cloud, like in the front and stuff. And I just love like just that extra mile, like
yeah.
those little
Mhm.
extra eye candy things that don't really have anything to do with the actual songs, but have to, are just part of the branding, So it's really cool. One thing about like
Mhm.
Open Mike Eagle, like when we saw him perform for the first time, like Automatica reminded me he had like a crown that was just on his table, like just sample pads and beat machines and stuff like that. And there's a crown, and he had like some action figures. I think there was like a Adventure Time and like a regular show and just whatever. He came out and he like picked them up and like just touched them, and then had a crown. He picked it up. He never wore it the whole time, and then he did his whole set, and then he left. And it was just like it was just so interesting. And I love
That's really
stuff like
cool.
that. Um, was there anything like visually like from those shows that you wanted to
Shows
like
that you wanted.
that you were like, oh, I want to do that at my huge show.
Yeah, there was a part where like it went from like a really intense song to like a slow song, and like they brought this like spotlight down, and it was like one of the band players, like Jinx, his name is, he was playing the violin,
Oh,
and it just like brought the attention onto that, and like you couldn't see anything else, and then suddenly like the lights all came out and they all just like started playing, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
that's
Like,
brilliant. So that was one of
yeah.
your favorite bands from when you were a teen?
Yeah, yeah, I finally got to see them live when I was a lot older. So I think I was like 22 or 23 or something.
That's awesome. It's like a gift to your
Yeah.
younger self.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And we did the same thing. Like, Simple Plan has always been like one of my favorite bands. I had like a shrine of them when I
Hmm.
was like 13. I swear to God, not even fucking be joking. But I never got to see them live. Like my friend, like especially when they were huge, they were just doing stadiums and stuff like that. And people at school would be like, "Oh, I went to see Simple Plan in Dallas yesterday," and I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, rich kid." And I'd be like mad about it. But like they did a 15-year anniversary show of their first record, which has "I'm Just a Kid" and "I Do Anything" and "Perfect" on it, and they played the whole album in its entirety. And me painted, and my brother all went, and it was like that was like my best gift that I gave to myself because like I always wanted to see them live, and I finally got to,
Hmm.
so it was pretty awesome. Yeah, it's pretty cool when
I
you get to
love that.
like get that whenever you get that, whatever. Like you, as an adult, you have the money and the time and
Hmm.
whatever to
Yeah. Yeah.
go do something
Yeah.
that you wish you could have done when you're a kid. And like, of course, I
Yeah.
wasn't as into them at that time that I was when I was a kid. But it's like it's like a gift to yourself. Like I would have appreciated this
Absolutely.
10 years ago, so I'm going.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really cool. Yeah, I love going to live shows. Um, okay, so is Taffy the only person you've collaborated with so far? Like,
Yeah, actually.
Because
Surprisingly, because I was supposed to collaborate with someone on Ghost actually. So I wrote Ghost for somebody else.
oh.
And I sent him the track and like I never heard from him again and like so I ended up just taking that song and was just like I'm gonna okay I'm so I was gonna sing the chorus and he was gonna put some rap or something onto it.
Hmm.
I never heard from him, so I was just like okay, well I'm just gonna release this as my own song then, and I wrote my own lyrics and that's how Ghost happened. But I haven't like I've been asked a few times, but I get so like caught up in life and
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard for me to like I think especially because the past year I've been really working on mental health, like I've actually had to turn around to people and be like, I'm just not in the right headspace to commit to anything. So in terms of music, so it's yeah, but I really want to because I do enjoy doing collabs. I think it's really interesting and you gain like supporters from their fan base or whatever
Yeah.
and yeah, you learn it. I don't know, it's just different. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Like, so you only met him once in real life, so it was
Mm.
remote that you did the collabing, right?
Yeah, so he sent me the email with the stems or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this in my bedroom, and then I sent him back the stems that I'd done, and then he then went and like edited them with his team or whatever, and then he sent me back and I he said, do you want me to change any of it? And I'd be like, yeah, I don't like this, don't like that, and then
Mm-hmm.
like it was that kind of thing, yeah.
That's interesting. Like that's kind of how me and Limbo worked, except like every time we turn it back, it return like send it back, it'd have like 20 more seconds on it. So it was a weird like we did this like lateral and like logical like
Mhm.
arrangement together. It was really cool. I don't think like whenever because we're working on another collab too soon, but I don't think it's gonna be like that next time. But that's the weirdest way I ever worked, and I find it to be a little more taxing, I guess, to collab remotely because there's
Mhm.
always that like you send it off and then you're waiting, and there's always that when you send off your bit they might come back and be like, yo, I hate everything you did. So there's like that bit
Mhm.
of nervousness. But like I've always found like
Mhm.
in the same room, when you're in the same room with somebody, like the communication's like right there. So like have you ever
Yeah.
like would you like to like would you prefer working in the same room as somebody? Is like something you want to eventually work towards?
Yeah, I did for like one record when I was under the label. My contract just ended, but when I was under Cone Records, I got to record at a studio, Tulu Studios. I'm still friends with the woman who runs that studio. Her name is Vince. She's a very talented musician, but I went to the recording studio and I had input from other people when I was
Oh yeah.
recording that song. So that was so much better because I had the motivation to just keep going because I just want to, if something doesn't work, I just want to be like, okay, well, I'm going home now. I don't want to finish it.
Mm.
But they were just like, no, just keep going. It's fine. Just keep going. So like sometimes you need other people there to motivate you.
Yeah, most definitely. Like it's invaluable. Like that's what I learned from working with Greg. Like every time I leave that studio, like I come home knowing something new. Like whether it's about like how a certain plugin works or how like oh my god, lights. I was scared for a second. I was like, is
Sorry,
that
my
me?
dad just closing the blinds.
Oh, okay, I thought my screen was fucking up for a second. No, but like I always like leave that place like learning something new about like how plugins work or how to like be more creative in like some different way, like apply some type of effect to something I never applied it
Mm,
to or something like that.
mm,
So
mm,
I love just being in the same room and just like seeing other people work, especially if it's on your own music, because you're like, damn, I never would have thought of that, but it's better. So it's cool. Yeah. Do you play like? Do you have any future releases like right now, like in the works?
No, I don't. I do not. And I kind of want someone to feature on one of my songs for once.
Hey, let me know. I can play guitar
Yeah, I do.
and
Please do.
sing sometimes. We'll see. We'll see how confident I feel. Dude, I love to collab on one of your songs. That'd be awesome. Like when we did Limbo song, like we released it under his name, so that's technically me. Like, yeah, we kind of came up with the idea together, but at the time I had just released Sick Harvest Magna, or no, Cosmos and Chaos, and I had like 3 more singles I was gonna release. So I was like, he doesn't have anything. He hadn't released anything in like a year. I was like, just put it under your name and you can have something, and then just invite me as a collaborator. Plus, the way Spotify and everything works now, it's like all connected. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'd love to do a track, one day. This thing is telling me what, 1 minute 40. So
Yes.
I guess, we're already almost at 2 hours anyway, so I guess we could go ahead and wrap it up. But I really appreciate you being here with me today and talking music and life and all that. Like, you're very interesting. I could definitely see you probably have a lot more to talk about, like, as far as, like, but I don't want to, like, prod too much, about, like, personal stuff. But, like, your music, a lot of mental health positivity comes out of it. And, I think it's awesome what you do as far as like taking tragedy and turning it into art. It's brilliant. It's beautiful. The way you sing, the way you rap, your lyrics are awesome. So yeah, dude, everybody, if you haven't actually heard Mysterious, like put on some headphones, listen to what she does. It's incredible. Automatic has one last food question. Hurry up, because I'm running out of time. It's less than a minute. But yeah, Misty, I've also got her handle right here. Her Instagram is right above her head. You can see it right over there. So go follow her on Instagram. I'm gonna put this YouTube version. I'm gonna put the YouTube version on YouTube or whatever. I'm gonna cut it up, and make sure those little weird breaks aren't in there. I already asked. Oh, hold up. English cuisine versus the food you had in Florida. What's better?
English food.
English food. Okay, we're going to England, guys. All right, thanks, Misty. Thanks for joining me today. Y'all go follow her. Go listen to her music.
Bye.
All right, see ya.